After nearly 15 years, Final Destination. Bloodlines has finally arrived, and it instantly became one of my most anticipated movies of the summer. In preparation, I revisited the first 5 films and was genuinely curious to see how the franchise would evolve. Fortunately, it did not disappoint. This 6th installment managed to retain the franchise's signature charm, combining cheesy yet creative death sequences with an expanded storyline that adds depth to the original lore. The film connects all previous entries by revealing that the tragic events in the earlier movies trace back to a disaster from the late 1960s. At the center of this event is a woman named Iris who experiences a premonition while visiting the Skyview Tower with her boyfriend Paul. In her vision, people die in horrifying ways, falling from great heights, catching fire, being crushed by elevators and pianos. She manages to evacuate the building before disaster strikes, inadvertently saving hundreds of lives. However, this act of heroism causes a ripple effect. Those who were meant to die go on to have families, and now death is back to claim what was lost. The story picks up in the present day with Iris's granddaughter, Steph, who begins having visions eerily similar to the ones Iris had decades ago. With Iris nearing death, the curse reawakens, targeting her descendants. As the film unfolds, we see Death's pattern begin to eliminate each family member one by one in the series' signature brutal and inventive ways. Iris is the first to go, impaled by a weather vane while trying to help Steph. Howard, her son, dies next after slipping on broken glass and getting shredded by a lawnmower in a disturbingly detailed scene. Eric, believed to be next in line, narrowly escapes death at a tattoo shop but is later killed when his piercings are pulled out by a malfunctioning MRI machine, leaving him contorted and broken. Although he wasn't technically related to Iris by blood, his mother had an affair, his interference with Death's plan proved fatal. Julia, another relative, dies when she's crushed inside a garbage truck. Bobby, the youngest, almost survives after an attempt to cheat death through induced anaphylactic shock and revival, but he too meets a gruesome end from a broken vending machine coil. The film reintroduces the iconic character William Bludworth, played once again by Tony Todd. In a powerful scene, he reveals that he was the young boy Iris saved in 1968, and that Death's cycle now points to him. His character's lines about not running from death carry an extra weight, especially considering Todd's real-life passing last year. His presence brings a sense of closure and significance to the story. The final act sees Steph, Darlene, and Charlie attempting to hide in Iris's old reinforced cabin. On the way, there's a subtle but clever nod to the franchise with a log truck from Final Destination 2 driving by. Unsurprisingly, their safe haven turns out to be anything but. After an explosion, Darlene dies, and Steph nearly drowns. Charlie appears to save her, and for a moment it seems like the curse is finally broken. But the film has one last twist. A doctor reveals that Steph was never technically dead, just unconscious. This means death is still coming. In a brutal and poetic finale, the cursed penny that caused the original disaster reappears in the present day. It rolls onto a train track, causing a derailment that sends 2 massive logs flying towards Steph and Charlie, killing them instantly. With their deaths, the cycle of fate finally reaches William Bludworth, who calmly accepts that his time has come. The story ends with the implication that the loop has closed. Whether or not we'll see a sequel is up in the air, but the film leaves room for the franchise to explore a prequel, perhaps diving into the origins of these death visions and the first people to experience them in the early 1900s. That's a direction I'd absolutely love to see explored. Overall, Final Destination. Bloodlines is a solid and satisfying return to the franchise. Despite the long gap, it feels like it never really left. The movie delivers everything fans love: gory deaths, suspenseful setups, and a touch of dark humor. The pacing is tight, and the narrative does a great job of blending nostalgia with new ideas. The misdirection in the death scenes keeps you guessing, and the surprises feel earned rather than forced. The performances are strong across the board, with Steph standing out as a compelling lead. She carries much of the emotional weight, and her arc is genuinely engaging. Seeing Tony Todd reprise his role for one last time was a highlight and served as a fitting farewell for both the character and the actor. His final monologue was haunting, especially given the context of his passing. If you're a fan of the Final Destination series or just love inventive horror with a bit of flair, this movie is definitely worth a watch. It respects the legacy of the franchise while bringing fresh energy to the concept. So there you have it, my take on Final Destination. Bloodlines and an in-depth look at that wild ending. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're hungry for more reviews and breakdowns, check out my playlist for new and classic horror films. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.